Hello and welcome to this instalment of Talkin Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we are looking at the seat foam backrest squab paddings for the Austin Healey range. So this is very much a continuation video. I've done some other videos highlighting the difference between our seat covers compared to original seat covers, which are not exactly the same, then compared to aftermarket ones. And the main point of it being that our horseshoe border that goes around here is correct for originality. You do see the video at the end, link at the end of this video, as well as in the description below. But the aftermarket seat foams, which for complete transparency, we do not manufacture, we do buy in from a specialist that supplies a lot of the industry. And I've obviously mentioned in a lot of my videos that the foam itself hasn't been made to the correct spec in terms of that horseshoe. And it all links back to obviously the seat cover side of things. Now, those other suppliers out there, unfortunately, have changed their patterning on their seat covers to suit the foam, as opposed to adapting the foam mould to suit the original seat cover, which leaves me in a bit of a catch-22, because I know our seat covers are exactly correct for originality. However, the mass-produced seat foams that everyone wants to use, including ourselves, don't work 100% with the seat covers. So yeah, as you can see our predicament here. But what we do is, when we're trimming seats on site, is we alter the seat foam slightly. And this is what this video is going to show. So this video is applicable for all the big Healeys. This particular set of seats here is actually from 104 BN2, but the concept of the backrest of the foam works for all of them. There's only two backrest squab foams in all of the Healey range. You've got the BJ8, and then you've got all of the earlier ones. So BN1, BN2, BN4, BN6, BN7, BT7 and BJ7. That's this style of foam here. Then the BJ8 is a slightly different foam, but the concept is identical. The actual frameworks and other hardware pieces do change in that range, so just be mindful of that in this video. Like I say, this is the early 104 BN2 spec that we're doing here. And I'll just do a bit of a background of the actual seat frame hardware itself before we dive into the alterations to the actual foam itself. So obviously you've got the backrest foam, which that is how you'd normally receive it, minus the line down the middle, which we've drawn on, and it's been glued into place on the frame. The frame is an original frame sent to us by our customer after getting it reconditioned. On the backrest, on the early cars, you had these hockey sticks on the back of the frame, which are riveted in place. I've left this last rivet out just so you can see the flexi ply, so it literally bends round the frame there. It's made out of flexible ply and it looks like that when it's done. There's no foam on that bottom section there. You literally do the flexi ply, rivet it in place onto the back of the framework there. Then the backrest section there, we supply a foam kit that covers that backrest section of the framework. Not essential, that foam, but recommended. And then obviously you have the molded foam on the front. Doesn't go all the way down, it leaves this gap at the bottom here and this gap on the left and right sections here. And you can see obviously it just kisses up to the ridge section. So that element is fairly common with all of the Healeys. The later Healeys, it changed over midway through the BN4s. They didn't have these tacking strips on the back. Instead, they switched to tacking strips sort of along here. But apart from that, the overall concept is the same, with a pinch of salt, shall we say. Backrest foams, these are the piece in question in this particular video. They're molded, which is great. They're fairly cheap and affordable compared to some foam kits, which is fantastic. We deal with some other cars where you have to buy cut foams, which cost a lot more, and you always have to work a bit extra to get that decent finish because they just don't have that nice resistance that, say, latex molded foams do. So you've got a couple of tick points there. They're pretty affordable and they're molded. However, like I say, they only do about 80% of the job, and this video here is to show the last 20%. So we lightly glue it in place onto the framework. You only need to anchor it down just to stop it from moving around, and you effectively tuck in the edges. You're never going to get it to fully sit in the frame properly, so you have to kind of squeeze it in a little bit to get it to sit there, so that basically it meets at the ridge circumference of the frame there. And then we always draw a line down the middle there, as you can see. Then the one major change that we do, and you can see here, is we then slice off left and right edges and slightly around the corner. Now, you don't have to be overly accurate. Just always take the mentality that you can always take a bit more off, but you can never really easily add it back on. So we always go with that mentality. But you can see roughly what we've taken off here. We just use a sharp Stanley blade or similar. You can actually use the electric carving knives as well. Just be really careful with it, obviously. And yeah, you're just slicing off. And you can effectively see when you start matching up our seat covers. The seat covers have a pleated panel in the section that goes around there, which is on a 17mm foam backing. So you can kind of line it up, turn it inside out and line it up there, and you'll see roughly how much you need to take off, and then you can just draw little lines to indicate. But you can see it's significant. This is where the old foam ridge is and how much we've taken out. But this is what you have to do to get them to look correct for the era. And yeah, it's not ideal, but as my father said in his wisdom and old age, at least you've got a decent moulded foam. Doesn't matter if you have to tinker with it slightly. The majority of the work has been done for you. And trust me, when I say some of the other cars that we have to deal with that have cut foams and they're 3 or 4 times the price of a moulded foam, imagine trying to work with those. So pick your battles is what my father always said with these sorts of things, and this is what we do. So we know the foams work 80% of the way, so hence why we supply them. Unfortunately, they're not our pattern, they're not our tooling, otherwise we would update it. We have fed back to the manufacturer, but they seem resistant on updating the tooling. I imagine it's probably quite expensive to update that tooling, so they don't for whatever reason. They also have changed their seat covers to match their foams, which overall means that you end up with an incorrect seat in terms of the distance on the horseshoe, which obviously I've touched on and you can see in the other videos online. So I just wanted to do this video here just to give you a really basic guide as to what you're doing. I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, if you think you've taken off a bit too much on one side versus the other. You can see there actually that the left bit there is ever so slightly more than the right bit. Don't worry too much about it. We always recommend do not throw anything that you cut away off until you're happy with the job, because you can always use it again. It's always useful to have upholstery wadding as well. This can often help in this section here, but ultimately don't overthink the problem. The fact of the matter is when you come to trim the seats, you've got that thick 17mm foam pleated panel on there and some other elements of foam on the seat cover itself, which when you come to trim and you turn and roll, it will smooth everything out. So obviously you want to make it as neat as possible, but don't worry too much about it. You can see here how raggedy some of those bits and bobs look around there, not to discredit my trimmer's work, but we know basically how hard it is to get everything accurate and neat as possible, but also how not important it is at this stage. Normally the trimming of a backrest takes 2 or 3 goes to get it all sorted anyway, so you will be going back and forth with this, but I just wanted to give a very basic intro video to show you that process there, because it's something that a lot of people ask about, the correlation between the seat foams and the seat covers. Now we know, as I've said, that our seat covers are exactly correct for originality, and you can see the proofs in the pudding. Got some lovely photos on our website from customers all over the world, including obviously seats that we've trimmed ourselves on site, and then I've got some great videos showing the same things as well, showing you the results, and I've done the comparison to the original, so you can see that measurement to the millimetre almost is exactly how it should be. And yes, it's frustrating that these seat foams aren't made the exact correct way, but as my father said, pick your battles with these sorts of things. They work the majority of it, and you just have to fill in that last little bit there. So just thought I'd do that video there. Anyway, I think I've reiterated that point enough. But yeah, I hope you find it useful. Please remember to like, subscribe and share with other classic car enthusiasts, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.